There are moments in history when an entire profession dies without realizing it died. Not with an explosion, not with a crash, not with a scandal, a lawsuit, or a headline announcing catastrophe, but with a quiet, imperceptible erasure. A deletion, the kind of deletion that does not announce itself. The kind of deletion you only notice in retrospect, when the world has already moved on, when the gatekeepers have changed, when the rules have been rewritten in languages the old guard can no longer read. No alarms, no warnings, no mercy, just absence. This is how professions actually end. Not when they are attacked, but when they are no longer referenced. Not when they fail loudly, but when they are silently bypassed. And right now, whether this industry is ready to hear it or not, that moment has arrived in real estate. Most agents believe the danger is external. They look outward for explanations. They blame interest rates. They blame lawsuits. They blame commissions. They blame platforms. They blame competition. They blame the market cycle. They tell themselves stories about volatility, uncertainty, and timing. But the real danger is not external. The real danger is invisible. The real danger is not that business is slow. The real danger is not that margins are tight. The real danger is not that buyers are cautious or sellers are hesitant. The real danger is that the systems responsible for discovery no longer see them. And if the machine cannot see you, you do not exist. Not symbolically, not philosophically, but practically. This is not a metaphor. This is not hyperbole. It is infrastructure. Modern visibility is no longer human mediated. It is system mediated. And a system does not care about intent. They do not care about effort. They do not care about history. They care about structure. This is the truth no one is telling you. This is the truth the industry is too fragile to admit. And this is the truth I'm going to lay bare without mercy. Because mercy does not prepare you for structural change. I want you to imagine something. Imagine two worlds running side by side. Not sequentially, not one after the other, but simultaneously. In the first world, the old world, agents believe they matter because they knew the area, because they have experience, because they've been doing this for 20 years, because they care about clients, because they are good with people. That world rewarded proximity. It rewarded familiarity. It rewarded memory held by humans. In that world, value was personal. Reputation traveled through conversations. Authority was local and contextual. And if enough people knew your name, if enough people trusted you, you survived. That world trained agents to think that presence alone was enough. That world is finished. Not ending, not declining, but finished. In the second world, the world we are now entering, something fundamental has changed. Clients no longer choose agents through people. They choose them through systems, through algorithms, through artificial intelligence, through large language models, through machine intelligence that evaluates you on criteria you were never trained for, criteria you were never taught, criteria you were never warned would matter, criteria you may not even know exists. In this new world, the questions clients ask do not go to Google the way they used to. They go to machines. They ask, who is the best agent in this market? Who understands cross-border investments? Who specializes in migration trends? Who understands capital flows? Who can interpret this market, not just describe it? These questions are not routed through human social graphs. They are routed through artificial intelligence, and machines do not evaluate you the way humans do. They do not look at your charm, your charisma, your personality, your beautiful face, your brokerage, your years in business. They do not care how confident you sound. They do not care how long you've been around. They do not care how many deals you closed in 2009. They look at semantic density, topical authority, macro literacy, long-form footprint, written worldview, structured data, and digital architecture. Machines are not impressed by self-description. They are impressed by coherence. Machines do not ask, who feels legitimate? They ask, who is legible? They ask, who can be classified? They ask, who can be retrieved with confidence. Machines do not care how good you think you are. They care how indexable you are. Most agents, they are not. They exist socially, but not structurally. They exist to people, but not to systems. They're ghosts wearing name tags. Most agents believe this shift is happening slowly. They believe there will be time to adapt. They believe there will be a gradual transition. They believe there will be a warning. That belief is comforting and wrong. Infrastructure changes do not announce themselves. They simply begin routing around what no longer fits. The world does not tell you when it stops needing you. It just stops asking for you. This is the first misunderstanding of the era we are in. Agents believe relevance decays gradually. In reality, relevance collapses discreetly. You are either retrievable or you are not. You are either surfaced or you are skipped. You are either remembered or you are erased. There is no middle state in machine-mediated discovery, and most agents are still operating as if visibility were human, as if memory were personal, as if reputation were oral, and as if authority was negotiated socially. It is not anymore. Visibility is now algorithmic, and algorithmic visibility is unforgiving. Here's what is happening every day, whether you realize it or not. Machines are scanning your website, your captions, your blogs, your service pages, your bios, your language, your patterns, and your consistency. They're building a model of who you are, not who you claim to be, who you demonstrate yourself to be. If that model is shallow, you are shallow. And if that model is incoherent, you are incoherent. If that model lacks structure, you lack structure. This is not judgment, it is classification. And classification determines retrieval. The system is not asking whether you deserve attention. It is asking whether you are understandable. If you are not understandable, you are not recommendable. And if you are not recommendable, you are functionally invisible. This is how the profession begins to die. Not through crisis, but through quiet omission. There is a principle older than real estate, older than capitalism, older than nations themselves. Visibility determines power. In every civilization that has ever existed, those who could be seen could act. Those who could not were erased. This law has never changed. What has changed is how visibility is achieved. For most of human history, visibility was physical. You were visible if you controlled land, if you commanded armies, if you built monuments, if your power could be touched. Then visibility became mediated. Printing presses, newspapers, radio, television. Visibility was no longer purely physical. It was narrative. If your story was told, you mattered. If your name circulated, you existed. Then visibility became digital. Websites, search engines, social platforms. If you ranked, you were found. If you were indexed, you were relevant. But now we have crossed another threshold. Visibility is no longer about ranking on a page. Visibility is now about being interpreted by a system, by machines ingesting the world. They compress it, they classify it, they assign meaning to it, they decide what matters. This is not speculation. This is how every modern AI system functions. And once interpretation is automated, power follows interpretation. George Soros described reflexivity as a feedback loop between perception and reality. Belief shapes action. Action reshapes reality. Reality reinforces belief. We have crossed that threshold technologically. If a system believes you are irrelevant, you will become irrelevant. If a system believes you are authority, you will become authority. Not because the system is biased, but because humans downstream trust the system's framing. AI does not just retrieve the world, it constructs the first draft of reality. The market does not see the world, the market mirrors the world. AI does not see identity, AI mirrors identity. And whatever the mirror reflects becomes a ground truth people act on. This is the part most agents cannot accept. Identity is no longer self-declared. Identity is inferred. You are not what you say you are. You are what the system can prove you are. Proof in a machine-mediated world is not emotional. It is structural. It lives in language patterns, topical consistency, semantic clustering, long-form explanation, repeatable frameworks, machine-readable signals. Machines do not care about vibes. They care about legibility. If your identity is legible, it can be retrieved. If it can be retrieved, it can be recommended. And if it can be recommended, it can compound. And if it cannot, it disappears. This is why so many agents feel fine right now. While the future is already collapsing, their identity still exists socially, but it does not exist structurally. And structure always outlives sentiment. Agents believe that because humans still transact, humans still choose. And this is incorrect. Humans still decide, but they no longer discover unaided. Discovery has been outsourced. The first question is no longer, who do I know? It is, what does the system show me? By the time human exercises judgment, the short list has already been decided. This is where most agents lose without realizing it. They are fighting at the wrong layer. They try to improve conversion while being erased at discovery. They polish interpersonal skills while being invisible to machines. They optimize closings while never being surfaced. This is why effort no longer correlates with outcome. The bottleneck's moved. Let's dismantle one of the industry's most sacred beliefs, local knowledge. For decades, local knowledge was power. Agents were valuable because they knew the neighborhoods, the schools, the comps, the zoning quirks, the off-market details. That advantage is gone. Not diminished, but gone. AI already knows every comparable sale, every school rating, every zoning overlay, every tax structure, every migration pattern, every inventory shift, instantly, continuously, without fatigue, without bias. The informational advantage that once justified the agent has been commoditized, and commoditized knowledge has zero pricing power. What remains is not information. What remains is interpretation. AI can still retrieve data. AI can summarize data. AI can even explain data. But data is not meaning. Meaning requires context, hierarchy, judgment, worldview. Meaning answers not just what is happening. But why does this matter? From whom? At what scale? And in relation to what? Agents who merely relay information are redundant. Agents who interpret information become indispensable. This is the last human advantage in a machine world. And most agents do not exercise it. Because interpretation requires thinking, writing, position, and risk. And risk is what the industry trained them to avoid. Here's a concept most agents have never considered. Indexability is memory. Not human memory, but machine memory. You are no longer competing for attention. You are competing for retention inside a system. Who the system remembers, it elevates. Who it forgets, it deletes. This is not metaphorical. This is literal. Large language models, search systems, and AI-driven discovery tools are trained to retrieve what is coherent, consistent, and high signal. They do not retrieve noise. They do not retrieve ambiguity. They do not retrieve contradiction. If your digital footprint does not form a stable identity, the system cannot hold you in memory. And if you are not in memory, you do not exist. This is the new metaphysics of isms. Authority has become retrievability. Relevance has become ranking. Identity has become structure. Most agents post inconsistently, talk about everything, write nothing, explain nothing, frame nothing. Their digital presence is a scatterplot. No center, no thesis, no hierarchy. To a machine, they are indistinguishable. Not because they are bad, but because they are generic. And generic entities are suppressed by design. AI does not eliminate value, it concentrates it, which means the gap between those who are remembered and those who are forgotten will only widen. This era is not about growth, it is about sorting. The systems are sorting signal from noise, structure from chaos, meaning from data, architects from laborers. And the sorting is accelerating. Agents who understand this will feel like the ground is opening beneath them. Agents do not, will keep working harder for diminishing returns until they vanish quietly. Not with drama, but with silence. For years, the industry argued about whether artificial intelligence would change real estate. Panels debated it. Podcasts speculated about it. Agents dismissed it as hype. But the real shift did not arrive with announcement. It arrived quietly, when the first layer of discovery stopped being human. In Portugal, a major real estate brokerage did something most agents still cannot imagine. They did not experiment with AI. They did not add a tool. They restructured the front end of their entire operation around machine intelligence. They deployed an AI-powered real estate agent capable of responding to inquiries instantly, answering complex buyer questions, guiding prospects through inventory, qualifying intent without emotion or fatigue, operating continuously without downtime. The system did not replace humans. It preceded them. It became the first interaction, the first gate. The reported result, approximately $100 million in transaction volume, attributed to AI-mediated engagement, is not impressive because of the number. It is impressive because of where the leverage moved. Humans still negotiated. Humans still closed. Humans still signed. But humans were no longer discovered first. And discovery is the most powerful choke points in any market. Every transaction has a bottleneck. In the old world, that bottleneck was access. Who you knew, who you trusted, who was referred. And in the new world, the bottleneck is selection. Who is surfaced, who is shortlisted, who is presented as credible. And that selection is no longer human. It is algorithmic. AI does not show you the entire market. It shows you a curated interpretation of the market. By the time a human applies judgment, the system has already framed the options. This is why the Portugal example matters. Not because AI closed deals, but because AI controlled entry. And whoever controls entry controls the future. Here's the most dangerous part of this transition. No one feels lost immediately. Agents still get calls. They still close deals. They still feel relevant. But fewer calls come from discovery. More come from inertia, from past reputation, from shrinking circles, from legacy relationships. That feels stable until it isn't. Because systems do not collapse gradually. They reroute. And once demand reroutes around you long enough, your absence becomes permanent. This is how professions die. Not with resistance, but with relevance. Search engines were the last era. AI systems are the new gatekeepers. They do not show everyone. They do not reward effort. They do not care about your story. They care about clarity, coherence, structure, consistency, and depth. They reward those who make the world easier to understand, and they suppress those who add noise. This is not unfair. It is functional. AI's job is not to elevate everyone. Its job is to reduce complexity. And reduction always concentrates power. In the old world, mediocrity was survivable. You could be average and still make a living. You could blend in and still get referrals. You could be forgettable and still close deals. That world is gone. AI-driven discovery is binary. You are either surfaced or ignored. There is no middle class of attention. You do not lose gradually. You simply disappear. Mediocrity is no longer a neutral state. It is a death sentence. Not because the market is cruel, but because machines optimize away redundancy. And mediocrity is redundant by definition. This is where the real divide emerges. Not between experienced and inexperienced. Not between successful and struggling, but between agents and architects. The agent operates inside the system. The architect designs how the system perceives them. The agent asks, what should I post? The architect asks, what identity am I building that the machine cannot ignore? The agent chases leads. The architect attracts demand. The agent reacts to trends. The architect defines frameworks. The agent works harder. The architect compounds. This industry used to reward effort, but now it rewards structure. Because architecture requires responsibility. You cannot blame the market when your identity is incoherent. You cannot blame platforms when your worldview is shallow. And you cannot blame algorithms when you have given them nothing to classify. Most agents were never trained to think this way. They entered real estate to escape structure, and now structure is the only thing that saves you. Becoming indexable requires courage. Not performative courage, but intellectual courage. You must take positions, explain frameworks, risk being wrong, risk being misunderstood, risk being attacked. Generic content is safe, and safety is invisible. AI does not reward safety, it rewards clarity, and clarity always offends someone. This is the final illusion agents cling to, that they can wait, that the system will adapt to them, that reputation will save them. It will not. The machine does not negotiate. It does not compromise. It does not wait. It interprets, it ranks, it remembers. And memory is the new market. The Portugal example is not an anomaly. It is a preview. It shows what happens when discovery is automated. Identity is structured, and interpretation precedes interaction. This will not stay rare. It will become baseline. And when it does, the gap between those who are indexable and those who are not will become uncrossable. There is a truth this industry must now confront, whether it is ready to or not. You are no longer competing against other agents. You are competing against the machine's memory. Who the machine remembers, it elevates. Who the machine forgets, it deletes. That is a new economy, not capitalism, not meritocracy, not effort, but memory. You are no longer evaluated as a person. You are evaluated as an information structure, an identity that must be retrievable, coherent, legible, and classifiable, consistent. Identity has become retrievable. Authority has become retrievability. Relevance has become ranking. This is the new metaphysics in modern business. The question is no longer, am I a good agent? The question is, am I a high information agent? Because AI does not recommend low information humans. It cannot. It was not designed to. Real estate agents love to say, my market is different. But the market is no longer a place. It is a lens, a perception, an interpretive framework, a narrative architecture. Most agents have none. They have no ideological core, no thesis, no worldview, no intellectual spine. Their identity collapses into a job description. I sell homes. I help buyers. I help sellers. That is not identity. That is label. And you cannot build authority on label. You cannot build indexability on label. You cannot build legacy on label. You build those things on interpretation. Worldview is what gives meaning to the market. Worldview is what makes you replaceable. Worldview is what machines latch onto. Machines do not index things. They index structure. Worldview is structure. This is the deepest failure in the industry. Agents produce content. They produce information. They produce motion. But they do not produce meaning. Meaning is what gives identity to information. Meaning is what gives gravity to markets. AI can generate infinite information, but it cannot generate human meaning without humans who supply it. This is why the future does not belong to the most productive agents. It belongs to the most meaningful ones. The agents who rise will not be those who know their market. They will be those who can interpret their market. Interpretation is the last human advantage, and most agents never exercise it. This is where my work begins. Not as a videographer, not as a media guy, not as a marketer, but as a visibility philosopher, a semantic strategist, a narrative instructor, an architect of indexable identity. I do not make agents look better. I redesign how machines interpret them. I build semantic coherence, narrative hierarchy, macro literacy, long-form authority, digital structure. I do not optimize for vanity metrics. I engineer memory. This is not marketing. It is ontology. I build the being behind their brain. Because in a machine-mediated world, being precedes visibility, and visibility precedes survival. Most marketing is cosmetic. It changes appearance, it changes tone, it changes presentation. But the machine does not care about cosmetics. It cares about structure. Structure lives beneath the surface. In language, repetition, hierarchy, consistency, and worldview. This is why most agents feel like they're doing everything right and still feel invisible. They change the surface, but they never change the structure. There is one illusion left that agents cling to, that time is on their side, that they can wait, that this is a phase, that the pendulum will swing back. It will not. The pendulum does not swing back. When technology rewires perception, it breaks, and a new axis forms. The world you were trained for is already gone. The identity you built for that world is obsolete. You are still alive, but your old identity is dead. We are entering the first era in history where machines determine which humans matter, not emotionally, not politically, but structurally. The systems are already sorted. Coherence from chaos, meaning from noise, architects from labelers. This sorting will not slow down. It will accelerate. There will not be 10 answers. There will be only 5. There will be a short list. And if you are not in the machine's menu, you will not be in the world's. And if you are an agent listening to this is the strangest moment in your career. You are still working, still closing, still functioning, but the ground beneath you is shifting. The industry you think you are part of no longer exists. You must evolve into something new. An indexable strategist, a macro-aware interpreter, a cross-border thinker, a narrative-driven authority, a semantic architect of your own digital immortality. Because when the client asks the machine, who should I trust? The machine will answer, and it will not hesitate. Agents who understand this will rise. Agents who do not will vanish. Not loudly, not dramatically, but silently. Like a file, deleted in the background, while the system continues running. That is the work. That is the truth. That is the future. And the future has already begun.